Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Kieran here talking you through all things Tottenham Hotspur. So today we're going to talk about the Europa League draw, and many Spurs fans are delighted to see that we have drawn Dinamo Zagreb. Now, some of you may remember them from 2009 when Harry Redknapp was in charge, and we played them in the Europa League again at White Hart Lane and beat them 4-0. Some of you may remember the Darren Bent hat-trick. Yes, I'm saying that. Darren Bent hat-trick in Tottenham colours. A rarity, but there you go. And also there was that Tom Huddleston strike, which was an absolute beauty. Now, moving on to this game, they're going to be played on the 11th and 18th of March. So we do have to travel to Croatia for the first leg. It's not too far. I think from London to Croatia is about a 2 hour and 20-minute flight, so less than 3 hours, which is one of the better draws that we could have had in terms of distance, and they are one of the weaker teams left in the competition. We also could have ended up drawing the teams like Milan, Shakhtar Donetsk, Roma, or an English team. So this is probably one of the best case scenarios for us here. So a bit about Zagreb so far this season. They're currently sitting top of the Croatian league, level on points, but they do have a game in hand as well, so they can push 3 points clear there. They also, in the Europa League group stage, they started off kind of shaky. They actually picked up a draw with Feyenoord 0-0, a 0-0 draw with CSKA Moscow, and then they did beat Wolfsberger 1-0, which is the team that we've just beaten in the previous round. And then they began to turn things around. They actually beat Feyenoord 2-0 away. They beat CSKA Moscow 3-1. And then in their second game against Wolfsburg, they won 3-0. Now, in the knockout stage, they played Krasnodar and beat them 3-2 in the first leg and then 1-0 in the second leg for a 4-2 aggregate. So it looks like they've picked things up as the competition has gone on. And they are no joke, really, when it comes to European competition. Obviously, the Croatian league is not what you would call a top league, so the quality of the players and teams is not going to be as high as some of the others, but they do have a good European pedigree. They've played a lot of Champions League and Europa League football over the years. If we look at players that have come out of Zagreb or played for them in the past that have gone on to a top level, we're talking about some of our own players here. Modric, Kranjčar, and Choluka, who have all played in the Premier League and had very successful careers. And then Eduardo, Mandzukic, Kovacic, Badelj, Lovren, Brozovic, Kramaric, Dario Simic, and Davor Suker. So they're a club that has produced some great talent over the years, so they are not to be taken lightly. We would expect over the two legs that we do end up going through, and you will expect that in this time, Mourinho will hit it with a decent squad. Add in the strength, you would expect Kane, Sonny, Ndombele, Højbjerg all to start from the off. You will probably see Lloris called back into action, with Hart dropping back to the bench. No disrespect to Hart, but Lloris, if his form rises in the time, he is the better goalkeeper we have. So unfortunately, Hart will have to accept his role on the bench. And if we get a big enough win, there is a chance when we come back to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium that Hart may reclaim his place in goal for the second leg to give Lloris a rest. So if we look at the games we've got around that period, we have Palace on the 7th, and that is a home game. We would expect to win that, which should give us confidence leading into that game in Croatia. On the 11th against Dinamo Zagreb. And then on the 14th, we then play Arsenal. And that is away. It's not an ideal situation because there's only a few days break in between. But we have to remember as well, Arsenal are also playing in the Europa League and they have Olympiacos. Now, that is a longer journey for them. So ours is about 2 hours, 20 minutes. Their journey is looking somewhere near the 4-hour mark to Greece. So although that's still not a horrendously long flight, you take into the fact that, we're only travelling less than 5 hours over two games. They've got nearly an 8 hours journey overnight. So we play them and then we head back to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on the 18th to play Dinamo in the second leg. So we play on the 7th, the 11th, the 14th and the 18th. This season is crazy. Games are coming thick and fast. And good news, the majority of our squad are fully fit. We're just waiting for Lo Celso. And I should imagine, based on the fact that he's training again, he could play a part in at least the Arsenal and Dinamo game. I mean, that's fingers crossed. The fact is he's back out on the training pitch. That can only mean good news for Spurs. If we run through the rest of the ties for the last 16, we have Ajax versus Young Boys. I think a lot of us are relieved that we didn't draw Ajax. They gave us a really good battle in the Champions League. They're a decent team. They've got some good young players. They played nice football. So that's a good one to dodge. Young Boys are no joke either. They're a fairly decent side. Then we have Dinamo Kiev against Villarreal. Villarreal are managed by Unai Emery, former Arsenal manager. And they actually have one of our players on loan, Juan Foyth, who is playing fairly well for them. He's had a decent chunk of game time. He's featured at centre-back, right-back and central midfield for them. And a lot of us Spurs fans did think that maybe he could play a holding midfield role. So it'll be interesting to see what happens at the end of the season because they do have an option to buy. And the kind of player he is, he's still young, he's very technical. There is a chance they could take us up on the offer to seal the deal. If not, we should have a decent player returning to the Spurs ranks. Then we have Roma versus Shakhtar Donetsk. I'm glad we didn't get either of those teams. So we know one of the bigger teams will be dropping out of the competition there. Also, Man United have drawn AC Milan. Now, I think a lot of us were sitting there thinking, Man U are going to be drawn against Molde and it was going to have the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer now and then. But that didn't happen. But still, we've got Ibrahimovic returning to Manchester United. So that should be a great little tie there. And also, that is another one of the big teams and favourites to the competition will be gone. So thank God there. We also have Slavia Prague up against Steven Gerrard's Rangers. I don't think we would have minded if we'd have been drawn against Rangers. Slavia Prague actually knocked Leicester out in the last round. So that should be an interesting tie there because Stevie G's Rangers having a bit of fun in Europe, let's say. And then the last tie is Granada against Molde, which, if we're honest, are two teams we'd have been quite happy to be drawn against. So of that, you could possibly see Ajax gone, Villarreal gone, one of Shakhtar and Roma, Man U and Milan. And I think the others, we wouldn't be too fussed if they stay in the competition. So you'd expect from these games, you will probably have Ajax go through. I should imagine Villarreal will probably qualify. Roma Shakhtar is a hard call, as is Man U Milan. But I think Man U will probably go through there. And then hopefully Rangers can beat Slavia Prague and continue their European run. And Granada Molde, it's another one there. So for us, this could be a really good competition. And it is a chance for us to get a trophy and qualify for the Champions League, which is something that increasingly is looking difficult in the Premier League at the moment with our dip in form. And I mean, you've only got to look to Liverpool to see what's happening there with all their injuries, their drop in form. You've got teams like West Ham that are sitting in the top 4 at the moment. The Premier League is absolutely crazy at the moment. So fingers crossed we get through this tie unscathed and we can win this competition. Come on, you Spurs. Hey guys, thanks for joining me in this video on the Europa League draw. If you like the video, support it with a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notifications so you get notified when the next video goes live.